Hi, Spots and Cheap Pops. We are in Survivor Series mode, which is just a preamble to the road to WrestleMania at Royal Rumble. And Vladi, it is going to be the last pay-per-view we pick in our battle, head-to-head. You see Silicon Steve Valli, 3-match lead with only 5 matches on this card, backs against the wall. But let's get past that. Let's talk about the possibilities of what we can see in Survivor Series. Hold on a second.
No problem.
Did you hear her at all?
Faintly.
What we're going to see with Survivor Series, we obviously have a couple of war games. We obviously have I think I'm actually looking forward to it. I didn't think I could. Gunther versus Miz. I think this matchup has been built beautifully. We're obviously going to also have a couple other things. But, Vlad, I'll let you take it away. Are you excited? WWE continues to cook on all... WWE continues to cook with some grease here, and Triple H, with a full year now under his belt as a creative guy, has really got them humming, where the anticipation of what is ahead into WrestleMania season is probably as high as it's ever been.
You're definitely right, and there's just a different feeling to the show. There's definitely, listen, there's some things that are sort of predictable, but then there's other things that they're doing where, for instance, we'll get to it, but like Escobar the other night, I had very low expectations of him coming out and cutting a promo. I'm like, this is going to be the typical. But the truth is, he had me interested. And then when he's calling for an amputation or hoping that Rey Mysterio's leg gets infected and has to be amputated, I can't really remember a time that I heard a heel guy using a line like that. So that was something new. Pretty badass. And he was even sort of dressed like Tony Montana from Scarface.
He knocked it out of the park. He shot and he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, and then of course we have the Drew McIntyre promo, just as a preface to our predictions here, beautifully done. And it just, you see that this talent is clicking on all cylinders here, and there's a better quality to WWE. Even in their PG realm, they're still pulling it off. And why? Because you have professional people doing this, such as Triple H and company. So it's not just him, but you know what? He's got pieces around him that are letting him create some great moments. So with that, let's start our predictions here for Survivor Series.
Let's lead off with Carlito and my new favorite.
Santos Escobar versus Carlito. Who are you going to go with?
I'm going to take Santos Escobar. I think he's going to continue because right now it's just him versus the rest of them. That doesn't usually work in a heel dynamic. You would assume, and I apologize if I get their two names, but you assume the tag team is going to go also follow in line. And let's be honest, to your point, Santos Escobar's promo, he made sense to me. 100% made sense. 100%, and so did Drew McIntyre. So I'm going with Santos Escobar to get his first big singles win on a pay-per-view.
Okay, and I'm with you. And here's one of the sort of swerves to look for in terms of, you were mentioning the tag team from the LWO, like who was his original tag team that he was with NXT, that they'll go and sort of trade places and team up with him. What they're discussing is it's Humberto Del Rio, or Humberto and his cousin from NXT might be coming up and might be the two guys behind him. Truth is, those guys are, and forgive me because I didn't get a chance to research them, but I know of the one especially. It's almost like he was almost like the Eddie Guerrero, like ladies' man kind of guy. Those guys are pretty talented, and if you got a guy like Escobar like leading them, and it's different, and it's not like, okay, the guys from the LWO are going to go with him again. That's a little different and should work. But I'm with you. Santos Escobar is going to beat Carlito, and you're going to see the start of his heel rise here, and it'll probably culminate with like some sort of match with Rey at WrestleMania is what I would think.
I don't know if it'll be all the way to WrestleMania. I think they're going to do Dominic and Rey one more time. But
okay. Maybe. And the only thing I'm unsure of is like Rey's his injury, So I'm not sure what the timing would be. That's the only thing. But there's going to be a big time match between he and Rey's going to probably put him over, of course.
Yeah, or they might trade it. They've been very protective of Ray, but either way, Santos wins this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go to the first War Games match with the women's groups here. So women's War Games match, we have Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Shotzi against Damage Control, which is consisting of Bayley, Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and Asuka. And with that, let me give you a trivia question. Can you name the one female competitor that has been in every War Games match?
Including NXT?
Yes.
I'd have to see Bayley or Sane. That's a good one. I would say Bayley.
It's actually Io Sky.
Ooh. I didn't watch NXT.
No,
Everyone, really? That's cool. How many were there?
Yeah. I think there was two, I think, in NXT that she participated in.
So this will be the third one total. Okay.
Yeah. Third
I didn't know
or fourth, right? Because did they do one last year, right?
I don't know. I don't think Damage Control was in it, though, if they were.
No, Damage Control wasn't, but I'm just saying Io Sky.
Well, she was in Damage Control back then.
Oh, wait. And actually, if you think about it, too, she was released and then she came back, right? So that's part of it.
Yeah, if they had one last year, then she wasn't in. But I don't remember. I don't recall one.
So So this is. I'm sorry. I got us off the rails on that one, but
I'll probably just edit it out, especially if neither one of us are correct.
I got you. Thank you. So I'm going in this match. I'm going Damage Control.
Okay. Well, I think they're turning on Bayley. Now the question is, do they turn on Bayley now? Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Are they turning on Bayley now if she loses? And the other question I was thinking, what's the purpose of these babyfaces beating Damage Control? Damage Control needs a win here to solidify them with their new faction. So I weighed those two things. Was it going to be to turn on Bayley? Triple H doesn't do that stuff real quick anymore. If it was Vince, turning on Bayley, I'm picking the babyfaces. But because it's Triple H, and because he likes the slow burn, and they've been a little bit teasing. They've been teasing the turn on Bayley a little bit, but it hasn't reached a fever pitch, and that just isn't Triple H's way. So that's why I wound up going with Damage Control myself. But it was tricky because of that heel turn or babyface turn.
Yeah.
And the other part is two of the other horsewomen are on the other side of that.
Yes.
So do they stave them? So that was another. You know what? I'll throw you a bone, Vladi, because you're down by 3 matches. I'll pick the babyfaces.
All right, team babyface for you.
I'm going to do it just for you.
I appreciate it. So I'm putting that in stone right here. Let me say this. You brought him up. This is one of the things I'm thinking with Bayley. The female horsewomen, or the horsewomen, if you will, with Charlotte there, Becky, and Charlotte making the call to Becky. Then all of a sudden, if Bayley finds humility because she's been turned on, and as long as Sasha remains unsigned or not on TV, there's a chance, because I know Triple H is a huge fan of hers. I would not be shocked if they just go and say, screw it, and let's do it. And then you have the horsewomen arrive, because what you see there is like Asuka and Io Sky and Kairi Sane creating almost like a Japanese sort of stable here. And it's kind of cool,
were stable in Stardom, weren't they? Or
yes, overseas? yeah. There's definitely history with them. So there's something going on here, and it's something brewing. And and I look at Bianca Belair as one of these great talents and all that, but she's sort of due for like a heel turn herself, where I don't know if she ends up like Lashley's group or something, but I don't see her being one of the four horsewomen as long as Sasha Banks is out there. And I could see that being a huge comeback, and then them having that moment, because you know what? We saw it in NXT. like Triple H propped that up, and it was one of those moments where I'm smirking as watching it, and it would be a really great thing for women's wrestling if they were able to pull that off all these years later. And if anybody could do it, it's Triple H. So that's just something I'm glad you mentioned, and it's definitely, I think, something on slightly on the horizon here.
Yeah, I don't think they would do the 4 horsewomen without Sasha. Yeah, I don't think they would go get another. I don't think Bianca would be. I don't think it would be anybody. I don't know if they're going to turn Bianca heel soon just because she's so popular, and
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. And then, so keeping with the women's wrestling theme, we'll go with the WWE Women's World Championship match where we have the champion Rhea Ripley, who's honestly one of the best in business, no matter what side of the card. And she's going against Zoe Stark, who's definitely, young, talented, and an upstart. I'm sure you and I are thinking the same way here. I'll just throw it on the table. Rhea Ripley, Rhea Ripley, Rhea Ripley. There's no bet the house on it.
Yeah, but Zoe's going to look good in this, and I've actually been impressed with her. I like her. She reminds me of like a badass, even more of a badass Ani DeFranco, if anyone's an Ani DeFranco song. I'm sure there's a lot of...
You know what? And if I
there's
can
a lot of crossover between our 500 subscribers and Ani DeFranco fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I can make a point, you don't get any sort of like observations like that on any other podcast where we're going to link Zoe Stark to Ani DeFranco. So
Ani, you fuck. Don't you ever say Annie, you motherfucker.
I'm sorry.
You don't get it. Yeah, okay.
So that's
sexist pig.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being a sexist pig. But yeah, so that's the sort of stuff we bring to the table here, folks. Next match, the Intercontinental Championship with one of my favorite, Gunther, against The Miz. Great promo by Gunther.
How good is he?
He's the best, man.
And he's funny.
He's got personality. I like how he talks down to people. It's professional, but he's still talking down to you.
Yeah, Miz is a disgrace. He said what I love is when people say what a lot of other people are thinking, and it's been done to the Miz dozens of times over the years because everyone thought he was handed the keys to the kingdom and he didn't deserve it. I still think that. I never thought. I mean, let's be honest. Miz was never a world champion caliber person, right. A caliber performer. Yet he had it twice. Are we in fucking sane, please? So there definitely is some. And I'm one of them that you hold a little bit of resentment toward him. Not personally. He's a nice guy. He seemed like a really good dude. I have nothing against him personally. And it's not his fault. But he's one of those people that was kind of given it. And go ahead, see what you could do. Cena, and they did it with a few people. But Cena and Orton were the only ones who really kept it going. I mean, they did it with Sheamus. Yeah. He didn't keep it as a main event level guy. They did it with Jack Swagger and whatever that rapist's name is, I forget his name. Dolph Ziggler. That's the reality. So, I love what Gunther said, and him going off on the Ultimate Warrior. I saw a quote about that. That was hilarious.
It was great.
Showman. He's a showman. He's a character. I'm a wrestler. Oh, loved it. Those are the great. Dark ages.
And when he said that, he hit my heart because the Ultimate Warrior was one of those moments in wrestling history that I stopped watching wrestling. I walked away from it, and I just couldn't get into them. And I actually started watching more New York Yankees baseball than anything, and that's when they sucked. And it was like, it was just so fake, and he just couldn't. And part of it, and I realized as I got older, his inability to cut a promo lost me. It was just insanity on the microphone. And I'm like, people are cheering this? I'm like, this is garbage. So when he called it the Dark Ages, personally speaking, it was the Dark Ages for me. I hated the Ultimate Warrior.
I like the Ultimate Warrior. I was only 12, though. I was 11 and 12. You were a couple years older than me?
Yeah.
So you had already progressed into you're a smarter wrestling fan. I was still like, yay! I was cheering for the Warrior at WrestleMania 6.
Gotcha.
I did lose when he came back the second time. I didn't care for him at all. I thought he was stupid.
Right.
So I was a little older.
It's almost a maturity thing. And listen, it was like I was loving like the dynamics that Hulk and Macho especially brought to the table. Even Jake the Snake to a certain extent, you know? And
There
it's
were a lot
not
of good
like,
ones. A lot of good ones. Better than the
yeah,
Warrior, for sure.
yeah. And that was the thing. That those are the guys I gravitated to. But like when he referred to that as the Dark Ages, I was like, this is great, man. This guy, they're just letting him off the leash. And it's like he is speaking his truth. And there is no guy that is such a is as good as like transcending errors as well. Like he can be an old school guy and he's current and just like modern even. So
He's a hell of a worker, dude. Hell of a worker.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm going with Gunther on this, and you know what? I give, the promo back and forth. You could see that it touched some nerves with the Miz, if you will. Like you just reading his face a little bit, and it's like, him being bullied by everybody as well. I love the fact that Gunther went there. Because it's pretty common knowledge that Miz wasn't even allowed to go and change in a locker room when he first
because
arrived.
there was that resentment because he was given spots that a lot of people earned prior to him, but because he was naturally gifted on the mic and he had that crossover with MTV or whatever, Vince was like, "That's my guy," and he put him over John Cena at WrestleMania. One of the worst main events in WrestleMania history. Great job, Vince.
And we do know Vince does watch this, so he is going to hear this.
Him being gone is the reason people hate Tony Khan.
So you mentioned Gunther as well as winning this, right?
Yeah, 100%. Pardon me.
Oh! So let's
get out of here. Zoe, out. Sorry, my dogs are being dickheads.
It's all right.
My door wasn't fully closed, which is my fault. It should have been fully closed when I started. Anyway, yeah, Gunther. We're 100% Gunther. I think he's going to drop that title at WrestleMania to Gable. I'm hoping anyway. That's how I would do it.
Yeah. Gable seems like the one that probably should get it. I see that there's rumors of even Brock, but I don't see Brock going for the IC championship because he's got to defend it and all that. So, although I would love to see Brock versus Gunther just to have that moment.
You could do that the next WrestleMania.
Yeah. All right. So let's go with the main event here. We got men's war games, a match that was helped invented by Dusty Rhodes of all people, correct?
Yeah.
And this is Cody's first opportunity to partake. So we have Team Babyface, which is another Team Babyface out for the night. We have Team Babyface and Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and none other than the returning Viper, Randy Orton, against Judgment Day, which consists of Damian Priest, who is the self-professed leader, evidently, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough, along with Drew McIntyre. So this should be a pretty good match overall. A lot of interesting personalities. I'm personally going with Cody and company on this one.
Me too. I think the biggest reason you're seeing dissension with Damian Priest, who I thought was going to be the babyface, but he's kind of being the dick of the crew now. So you have to wonder how that's going to play out. And especially with Rhea Ripley continuing to get babyface pops, despite her being seemingly the mastermind. But she seems like she's even backed off a little bit on Priest. And Priest said he was the leader a couple different times. I think we're going to see a problem. Priest may even get pinned. We'll see what happens. But I do believe that Randy Orton will have a nice returning situation. However, you mentioned something. Jey Uso looked worried that Randy Orton was going to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's Triple H in his genius, because he blocks out shots like Martin Scorsese at times, had a reaction shot at Jey Uso, and he's nervous because the last time he saw Randy Orton, basically he was getting injured, and Matt Riddle was being taken care of as well by the Usos of all people. They were feuding with them. And also, Jey Uso's been around the block, and he knows not to trust the Viper. And I will say this, even if Team Babyface wins, you're going to see Randy Orton within that moment or the following Raw, RKO Cody Rhodes. This is the final chapter before he faces Roman. This is going to be the feud. They're going to do Cody versus Randy, in my opinion. And basically, because Randy's going to be like, that should be my shot. Because really, they were considering Randy at that point to go against Roman as well. Because Randy was so damn popular as a babyface. Like, it would have been great.
Yeah.
So, and now here Cody has gone because of the injury, especially. He's went and passed him in line. And why would the Viper go and take that? So that writes itself right there between those two, and you're going to probably get what, a 3-month program between those two guys, and it should be a really good one. But I think,
do you want Randy Orton losing his first feud though? Because Cody's not losing the feud until
no, he's not going to lose it. Yeah, Cody will win, but again, is this them, realizing that this is the story and they're cool, like Randy's doing business, like unlike some people from AEW?
I think the feud might be Jey Uso and Randy Orton, because Jey Uso and the Bloodline took Randy Orton out storyline wise. That's something that has to be the bit. So I don't know if you go after Cody. I think you just turn on Jey, maybe on the Raw afterward, and then Cody can actually have like, hey, what are you doing, man, in the back? Like, hey, listen, and then we can go from there. I think there's some possibilities. And again, Triple H, he likes the slow burn. He said it 1,000 times. I think we're going to see Randy turn, but I don't know if it's going to be with Cody. But maybe, I mean, that does write itself, but that could also write itself right after WrestleMania and he wins the title.
That's a good point as well. So which team are you going with on this?
I already said I think the babyfaces are going to win, because we had the dissension with the Dark Order, whatever the fuck. Freudian slip. Judgment Day.
Judgment Day. So therefore, you basically have definitely won the purple nurple then, right?
Yeah. The other ones I thought were really obvious, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. So however, the congratulations on that win. I mean, it's going to probably take me. It's amazing how quickly you got it back.
Finally back where it belongs. Vladi Dottie, a long year. Actually, no. Over a year, almost 14 damn months, you had possession of the purple nurple. But finally, after all this time, Vladi Dottie, you have gone down, and a victory hasn't felt this sweet since I beat my daughter at Connect 4 a couple days ago. Put a spanking on that ass.
You're so competitive, aren't you? Connect 4 even. Well, congratulations. It's amazing how we teleported that belt right back to you.
It is amazing. And we'll decipher what the next time is going to be. But this is great. Back on top where it belongs. Ladies and gentlemen, check out our next video on CM Punk. Is he coming to WWE? And is he going to be in Chicago? Well, he lives in Chicago. That's actually probably